cycle reverse hypers on a weekly basis. Usually what I like to do is if people have been doing them for a while and they've built up kind of some tolerance to them, once you're kind of broken in, I guess you could say, I typically like to do 4 sets of 20 on my lower body days as part of the main workout. And a lot of times I'll do like 2 sets of 20 in the warm-up in addition to that. So the warm-up sets are lighter, like it could even be like a plate or 2. Doesn't have to really be much. And then on my heavy day, I like to go a little heavier. Somewhere around maybe 75% or so of your raw squat. And then on our lighter days, I like to go a little bit lighter weight. So whatever, maybe take a plate off or so. Maybe cut that weight almost in half. So that's kind of an easy way to do it. And then sometimes on the lighter days too, we'll build up volume. So you might get up as high as 4 sets of 60 every once in a while, 4 sets of 30, 4 sets of 20. Get single leg stuff on the lower body day. That's usually how we set it up. So 4x20 in the main workout and 2x20 for warm up. And heavier on the heavy day, upwards of like 75% of your raw squat max. So you're getting some weight on there. But that's pretty much it. I've also done them on lower body or upper body days too. So we'll take, just at the beginning of the warm up, do a lighter weight for a couple sets of 20. So that's pretty much how we do it. Try to, on your 2 main lower body days, either build up a little bit of weight or build up a little bit of volume on those. So, but usually that heavy day we stick around 4 sets of 20, and then the speed day we'll crank up the volume on those a little bit. And that's how we cycle them. Nothing crazy, just kind of push a bunch of blood in there, get a bunch of work done. Contrast training for dynamic days, or save for peaking. I usually saved it for peaking cycles, so we would start usually about 12 weeks out. Start doing your French contrast or that stuff, if that's what you're talking about. Your post-activation potentiation for the fucking pretentious strength coach and all of us. We like to use big words. I would usually save that stuff, and like my true plyometric work usually for peaking cycles. And I don't know if that's right. It always seemed to work for us, and my thought was, don't
use the left 2 lanes to take the I-290 East exit.
Kind of law of diminishing returns. Don't play your ace card too often. So we kind of save those things for when we need to be more explosive. So hopefully we get more of a return from it. Whereas if you do it all the time, you're kind of used to it and your body doesn't respond as much. So we'd always kind of put it in at the end there for like a little kick. But like I said, maybe that's not the way to do it, but that's always what made sense to me. So save it for when you need it. Thoughts on box squat stance. Thoughts on box squat stance for a narrower raw squatter.
In 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take exit 5161 for I-90 West toward Erie.
Typically what I do for my raw guys is I'll get them out a little wider on their box squat stuff to try to build their hips up. Because I think this is, individual basis, but for the most part, you're going to be weak out there. So I think when you're further out from the meet, you can kind of go back and build up some weakness that way. And then as you get closer to the meet, we'll start to pull the box out a little more, so we won't use it quite as much. And then I'll let them start coming back into their free squat stance. So we kind of go out wide with the box squat because I think it's a good aid to build up the hips and you can get out wide. Because if you go out that wide in free squat, it's going to be a fucking mess. It's going to trash your hips real fast. But you can put the box in there, build your hips up, all those things. And then as you need to get kind of refamiliarized with your competition stance, I think it's better just to bring your feet in a little bit, back to where you feel strongest, and then get the box out of there. So I'm not using the box to be specific to their sport, which is lifting. I'm using it as general preparation. And then once we get specific, we'll actually start free squat. Because I think there's a big, I know with me, there's a big factor of knowing that box is there. To me, there's a totally different feel. Some people can box squat all the time and go to the meet and free squat fine, but I got to get used to it. And I think most people are probably like that. I think most of the people that can go right from a box to free squat right from there are kind of the freaks or the 1%ers. And they're just really fucking good. I think most of us mere mortals have to get a little practice.
On I-90
so
west for 5 miles.
Typically what I do is I keep it wide, and then so that's heavy days. To me, if you're going to box squat on speed days, keep your feet out wide, because again, we're trying to get the hips built up. But what I do quite a bit with some of my raw guys on speed day, will go free squat without a box, and then I'll have them go a little bit wider than their competition squat. So it's not crazy wide like you typically would see on a box squat, but we'll kind of see where their competition squat is, and we'll move their feet out just a little bit, and then they're going to try to practice keeping perpendicular shin and getting back in their hips more. Again, this is individual basis, but for the most part, and when they're free squatting, they're probably not going to keep an absolute perpendicular shin the whole time, but that's kind of what I want in their head to reinforce getting back in the hips and glutes. It's real easy to get forward knee drift when you're free squatting, which is going to happen anyways. Their body's going to. So that's how we run it. I got people calling me, so this thing keeps pausing. Thoughts on a 5th day on a conjugate style program for full bodybuilding movements if you're recovering okay. Yeah, I think that's the big thing. You gotta make sure you know what your main objective is, and then make sure that 5th day isn't taken away from that main objective. So like you said, recover, I think it's fine. If you can do it and make progress on it, do it. I've never personally messed around with it just because of time restraints and, that kind of shit. But sure. What are some common mistakes to avoid when starting conjugate training? Thinking too much, making it overcomplicated, worrying too much about exact percentages, not focusing enough on technique of the actual lifts, taking a concept and going too far with it. So, for example, I think wide stance squatting is kind of associated with the conjugate system, right? So, if you're just trying to get strong and all you're doing is powerlifting, that's okay, as long as your hips can recover. But like if you're working with athletes, once they learn how to be out wide and perform that lift there, then I think it's important to keep mixing in some narrow stance stuff every 3rd week or so. And the same could be, something I probably did early on was board press all the time, and not enough full range stuff. So just like anything else, taking something that's popular with the system and getting locked into things. You gotta continue to be
In a
adjustable
quarter mile,
with it,
take exit 52
and take them too far. So that would probably be some mistakes. Just keep it simple. Train fucking hard. Follow like just a general template, and train your ass off, and the rest will take care of itself.
Right.
Make sure you're doing the movements correctly. That's the fucking huge thing that I see a lot of people fuck up. What makes a good training partner? I don't know. I'm a bad one, so no. Someone that trains hard. Not a fucking. I hate using that fucking word. Just somebody that comes and shows up to train hard and wants to contribute to the group. It's not fucking dragging everybody down. Not pissing and moaning the whole time.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto New York 240 South.
And we all do this every once in a while, right? You fucking feel shitty and go into the gym and bitch about stuff, but somebody that'll help coach, somebody that doesn't just kiss your ass. You need
turn left onto New York 240 South, Harlem Road.
You need people that are going to be honest with you. So those are all. I think those are most important. Just come to fucking work hard and contribute, just like any other team. Lead by example. You want to be in a group where you have to chase people, because it's a lot easier to get stronger that way. But even if you're not the top guy, like, you gotta push yourself, because it's going to bring everybody along. The guys ahead of you will see you start making progress, and then they push more, and then the guys under you are going to be chasing you too. So
continue on New York 240 South for 1.5 miles.
Just go and fucking train hard. Also, somebody who will pull you out of a squat suit, even if that means running a steel rod through your undercarriage to get the fucking legs out of your squat suit. That's important. Somebody who's willing to dig their fingers down the back of your sweaty, gravy-filled, nasty, fucking stench-ass briefs to pull them up in the back. That's important. You need someone with a soft touch to reach up under your singlet at the meet and pull that bench shirt down through the legs. Those are all very important things too. Make sure they got a manicure so they're not scratching you. Alright, what the fuck else we got? Brought up iso hold and eccentric stance. Have to get creative. All we have is bands. So different variations for speed work. Yeah, I like the slow eccentrics. You can try to. That's fine if you only have bands. Maybe you can wave band tensions.
Turn left onto Mineral Springs Road.
So basically, each band level is separated by about 50 pounds. If we're talking about squat.
Continue on Mineral Springs Road for a half mile,
which is equal to about a mini band at the top. So you could wave, like, keep your bar straight, your bar weight constant through a 3-week wave, and wave your band tension. Like, just go up a band level each week. So level 1 or week 1 would be a light band. Week 2 would be a light band and a mini band, and then week 3 could be a light band and 2 minis per side of the bar. Okay, so that's also going to be equal to, on week 3 I'm talking about right now, a light band and 2 mini bands is also equal to an average band and 1 mini band, or 2 light bands. See, it's like each band level separated by a mini band, basically, so you can ramp them up that way.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Deer Chase Road.
You could do longer pauses on the box, like you said. You could do some free squat variations, so that gives you a whole nother kind of column of variation for that, a whole nother section. You could do front squat, do different bars.
Turn
That
right
always
on
helps with
Interchase Road.
variation.
Then your destination will be on the
Front
left.
squat. So, and you don't have to go too crazy. Kind of think with athletes, think of your speed work this way for the most part. They're going to get faster. Like, we want them to get faster and more powerful, but
your destination
to
is on the
me,
left.
for an athlete, the speed work is a way to keep in some speed training, even if you're not doing actual sprint work. And I understand the velocities are way different. I get that, but it's just a stimulus kind of in the off season to keep fast contractions in, if that makes sense. So, like, we never want to get too far away from sprint training. Buddy used to say the body detrains speed, and so to me it's just that it's keeping that trait in there and keeping it somewhat trained. So don't God fucking damn this thing. It's good to have variation, but don't beat yourself up too much. As long as they're pushing fast and you switch it up every few weeks, you're good. An athlete is strong enough. If I wanted to make them more explosive, do you have to do speed dynamic days and use the supplemental lift for strength? The way I attack that is I keep doing max effort work with them and keep rotating the exercise, keep switching it, but don't put so much emphasis on it. So you're going to continue to train maximal effort, but you don't, work up until it's hard, looks like a 9 out of a 10, and then shut them down. Don't spend as much energy and resources on it as you normally would, if that makes sense. Almost like an in-season athlete, if you're going to do max effort work with them, like, work them up till it's heavy, let them strain a little bit, shut it down. Don't take them to an absolute max, and then keep the rest of the system the same. The rest of your days are same. Because I think there's a neural effect of max effort that will help speed. And I don't have fucking studies or whatever to prove this, but we're really fucking strong, and I thought we didn't need to worry about slower. But that's what I would do. I don't think you need 2 speed days. I think they get a lot of speed work, or I'm kind of thinking as I go here. I would keep max effort work in. That, looking back at mistakes I've made, I would keep it in, but change it each week. I got a bad fucking connection here. It's pissing me off. Keep it in there, but don't push. Alright. I'm home. I gotta go fucking catch up on work because my fucking computer's down and I was fucking out of the house all morning. So thanks for the questions. You work at the CNS that day. You can do it on the same day. Sprint work and then speed work in the weight room. Just don't overdo either one of them. You'll be fine. All right.